Hello, Miss Art Garden here, and today we're gonna do a sugar skull kind of makeup painting tutorial, digital painting tutorial. You can do this with a picture, or I did this little sketch in the portrait in the last video I did. A few little things were changed since then. If you guys are watching them consecutively, I added some highlights here and some shading here and fixed this jawline just a little tiny bit. I'm sorry I didn't refine all this other stuff. I just wanted to do those kind of in preparation of this video. Okay, so if you have your portrait or your picture or whatever you want to do, you want to open it up in your digital artwork program of your choice, which I'm using Photoshop. And so you have it on this layer, and I'm going to create a new layer. And there's multiple ways of doing this. You can hit this little button or hit Command Shift in, or I think it's Alt Shift in. I'm sorry if it's Control Shift in. I can never remember which one. But so we want a new layer. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add kind of like whitish paint, so to say. So I'm going to actually make this screen, this layer screen, and I'm going to take this white and I'm going to take my brush, and it's set at 15% right now. It's just one of the usual round brushes, and my hardness is going to be, we'll bump it down to like, 17, 15, okay. And what we're going to do is we're just going to literally put kind of like, not quite that much. So let's bump this down. It's too much at 15. Let's move it all the way down to 4. And we're going to put like where she might have put some paint on, just to add, emphasis. Like so, just some whitish colors. And we're not going to go super crazy here with the paint. We're just gonna kind of make it look, what it really kind of has done right now is white her out a little bit, but that's okay. If you're worried that it's gone too far, you can bump this down and mess with it. But I just want, like, it's not much, but I just want kind of a white base color. Okay, so you can kind of mess with that. You can also do one where you put it on overlay, and it won't eat through the shadows so much on overlay. So there's, that. So those are your kind of two choices. Why don't we just leave that? Why not? And we're going to make a new one, and we're going to set it to multiply. Okay. And I'm going to pick a dark gray color. Okay. So now we're going to take our brush and we're going to turn it up to 100%. And we're actually going to take like this mid-tone gray. Let's see if it's a little bit too dark still. So let's make it this higher. Oops. I didn't mean to do that. There we go. Okay, that works. And the reason why we're working on 100% is you can kind of continuously mark it now. And we'll just make the color darker as we want the color to be darker, essentially, if that makes sense. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go around and highlight her nose, or, circle her nose in like a triangular shape. And if you mess it up, since you have multiply, this layer is multiply, if you had any opacity difference, it would really add up weirdly. It doesn't really look, not with this light of a color, but just trust me, if you had any darker colors, it would. So you want to keep your opacity at 100 when doing this. And my brush hardness is only at like 50%. So you can highlight that. And then if you want, you can go in and just color that in. Okay. And if you want it to look even darker, you just pick a darker color. And you can even kind of trick it and go into like the shades and don't go over the highlights as much, and just kind of paint over that. And if you want it to look even darker, you pick a darker color and you go in. That's probably a little bit too dark for what I want, so I'm going to go up a little bit more. And I'm not going over all of it, just kind of the areas that I want to look up here a little bit darker. So maybe like that. Maybe I don't quite like that, so I'm just going to go back up. I'm not going to pick such a dark color. The good thing about the digital painting is that you can just sort of go with it. I'm going to actually take that, and if you want later, I'll show you how to add some highlights. Okay, so now we have the first thing, which is just that kind of, skeleton dead nose look. So that's a good start, I think. We're going to move on now. We're going to do a spider web on her forehead. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of carefully draw in. If you want to use the pen tool, if you're, want to really have it, precise, you can use the pen tool, but I'm not going to use the pen tool. I'm going to freehand it, since that's probably what most of you guys out there are doing. So we're going to draw in like a triangular shape that goes down between her eyes and up, like that. Okay. I don't really like that, but I'm gonna, why not? You can just kind of redraw it until you like it, or you can kind of move it like that if you're a cheat like me. Okay, so we can go in and erase these, and you guys might have a steadier hand than me, especially right now. So let's just kind of go in and we'll sketch these in carefully, these little web lines, and I'm going to do 1 at the center and 2 off to the side. Okay, and then we're going to take the webs and go like that. I'm just making a spider web. Just like that. Did I say spider web? I hope I originally. I don't like where this one is, but that's okay. Since we're on this new layer, we can just delete it or erase it and move it out a little bit more. And that makes it a little bit more even. And this one is a little short, but we'll leave it. It's okay for the inaccuracy. Okay, so now we have this, and I'm going to pick a lighter color here. We're going to pick a lighter color, and I'm actually going to turn this to multiply as well, the brush, so that I can go in and I can add like shadows, except I want my hardness to be a little bit more, and you can kind of add in these shadows here, just like that, and that, and that. And you can take your eraser if you want, like, and turn your hardness like all the way down, and turn your opacity down to like 45% if you want to kind of give it a quote-unquote blending, where you just sort of erase it a little bit. Just like that, and it kind of looks like it was more smudged onto the skin. Okay, turn your brush back to normal, and pick your color, something that matches about that, and that's good. And I'm going to go, I erased this a little bit. Oh, I think that's a little too light, actually, so let's darken it. And go over this line a bit here. And then we can do the same a couple more times. So we'll do the swoopies here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here. Okay? And we'll do it one more time. Here to here, here to here, here to here, and here to here. And you can do yours a lot more cleaner than this. You can go in and erase it. You can blow it up and give it more precise lines. But just for this tutorial, I'm not going to worry too much about it. So now I'm going to take a darker color. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to, just kind of, so the lines aren't uniformly colored, I'm actually just going to go and trace along some of the edges. And you can turn your opacity, your hardness down for this if you want to make it look a little bit cleaner. And the reason why I'm doing this is just so it won't look like, we obviously have it multiplied so, you can see the highlights and stuff pass through, or whatever, different color shadings. But if you have it all one uniform color, it looks kind of fake. So I'm just going to go in, add some darker areas, like the paint was smudged. Oops, I messed up there. I'll just kind of outline these areas, just like that. Perfect. Okay, and you can go even darker, or you can mess with it more. But I'm going to go back and reset mine to multiply. And do some more like shading stuff here, and here, and here, and here, and here, here, and here, and here. And you can even do it a little bit up here, but I'm gonna go in through here. Let's make it a little bit lighter, and add a little bit more shading up here too, because I just want this shading to be really emphasized. So that looks like her, her makeup. I'm going to take that eraser. I still have my old settings. I'm actually going to bump this down to like 25, 26. And go in and we're just going to erase just these edges a little bit, just to kind of give it that blended, like it's been blended in technique. There we go. So now it looks like she's painted a little spider web on. And next we're going to do we're going to pick the color we want, turn it back to normal. And next we're going to do like these sort of stitch marks across her lips to show teeth, skeleton teeth. And this might take a little while to sketch out how you want. and you can go over it and you can erase it and stuff. Since it's at 100%, it doesn't really matter, you know, your opacity. Oops, you'll probably want to turn your eraser back to 100%. And I'm going to turn my hardness up to 102, or actually probably like 70. And I'm just going to kind of work in the shape that I want. And I think that's going to be okay. If you're doing this super freehand, it kind of makes it look like the person did the makeup, you know, freehand. Okay, so now we have that, and we're going to go and we're going to add these little stitch marks, as I call them. And when you're doing them on the lips, they have to kind of conform to the shape of the lips, which is why I had to kind of rework these lips. I was like, I'll just mess with them later in the painting, but then I decided I have to really shape them up. Okay, so, and if you want them to go up further, you know, you'd have to kind of follow that curve of the lips a little bit, just like that. And this too. Okay, and then you can go these out and like that. And then you can do these. I know these, technically you could take your time and really conform these, but I'm gonna just put 3 more stitches here. This one only got 2, so I'm gonna try to match it so it gets 3 as well. So now she has kind of those, you know, like stitch marks or whatever. And I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna take a darker color. I'm gonna make my brush a little smaller, and I'm just gonna kind of go in and do the same thing earlier where I add, you know, some darker areas. I'm gonna smudge in, not quite like that bad. I'm gonna smudge in some areas here, darken some areas here, so it doesn't look super uniformed. And then if you want, you can turn yours to multiply, pick a color, and make your brush a little bit bigger. Add some kind of like smudgy areas, like she's accidentally smudged it a bit when she put it on. And then you can take your eraser and bump it down to like 20% again, and do this thing if you're worried about it looking a little too smudgy. And you can even like erase some of the little tips so that they're not, you know, so uniform. You can even go over and erase certain areas like around her mouth where you think she might have worn the paint off a bit, whatever you think looks right. Okay, and then the last thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna turn my brush back to normal, is we're gonna do like the paint around her eyeballs, her eye sockets or whatever. So, you know, like you can maybe draw the circle in first. Okay, and then just try to like anywhere that her face might conform, if that makes sense. Contort, bend, whatever, try to follow those lines a bit. So like, you know, around this area, I'm actually going to move this up. Oh, I don't have my eraser on. 100%. Hardness, bump that up. There we go. Just have to kind of rework that there. And we'll do the same over here. Okay, and now we're going to take our brush, make it really big. Make the hardness a little bit more, like 74. And we're going to go in and we're just going to like fill in this area. And you could probably take a smaller brush if you wanted for around the eyes, but I don't think I have to be quite so careful, even though I probably should. Okay, and we're even going to go right over those eyebrows. So we're doing the same as we did over with the nose, where we just kind of carefully fill it in. Don't do it on her eyeballs, the whites of her eyes or her colors. I'm just going to carefully fill this in, and just like so. And it doesn't look quite right yet, I know. I don't like that, so I'm just going to go in and reshape it. There we go. And we're going to get to making it darker, you know, following the shadow areas and stuff. But first I want to just add, let's erase this. I want to go over and carefully underneath this area. That's not, okay, let's just do it. I'm not good at being careful. Kind of make a little bendy bend. And that'll meet up at the corner here. And then the same up over here. The same over here. And the same down here. Well, I was going to carefully do it. I just kind of, I've already said a couple times, but my hand's a little messed up, so it kind of hurts to do that. So I'm just going to do it the way I want to do it. And it'll be beautiful anyways. Okay, so we have this kind of extra line, and on this line we're going to make little like lacy bits, bendy bits, details. And you can make yours really uniform, or you can just do it like me where it's sort of uniform. Okay, so we have that base down, and then if you want to color these in, make your brush a little bigger, color each one in, you can do that too. Okay, and then you have that shape. Now we're going to go in with darker colors, so we're just going to come over here, pick a different black, move it down, and you're going to think about, I'm going to put mine to 0, and you're going to think about where the shadows are, and I would go in, I mean I know it's all 100%, but I would go in and really emphasize the shadow areas and not worry too much about the you know, the highlighted areas, because so I'm going to go in there with that and leave the highlighted areas alone a bit, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to make this area a little darker in places. And then we can go in and we can get even darker colors. There we go. And we're just going to add some more like darker areas here where the paint is. And it just makes it look like, you know, where you've painted in, it's a little bit more, you know. So if you don't like that these edges are really, really smooth, you could do the same thing that I did earlier, where you take an even darker brush and you make it small, and maybe I don't want the darker brush, I want like a lighter brush, and just sort of emphasize some of these areas like she messed up and went over a couple times. I think it's still too dark. So we'll just kind of go in and do that. Okay, so that's about it. And you can go in now if you want with some darker colors and, you know, kind of re-emphasize any areas that you think needed to be re-emphasized. Like if you wanted to darken her nose a little bit, you can do that. And just kind of go around, re-darken her eyes, you can do that. Whatever you want to do. And you can kind of, you know, if you want to keep going and making it darker, you just add layers to it, whatever you want to do. I know I didn't do this perfectly symmetrical, but we're just going to try to line it up a little bit with that shade. This would be like if I did my own makeup, it would not be very symmetrical at all. So we'll draw it in just real quick, and then we're going to switch it to multiply, make a lighter color, and go in and like we're trying to fix it up a bit here and here. And then we'll go in, we still with multiply, an even lighter color, and make the brush bigger, bring the hardness down, and add some like smudge marks or whatever you want to call them. Okay, so there we go. We have Sugar Skull makeup. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments or whatever, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And take care. I will see you in the next video.